Right now, the National Weather Desk, cleanup begins after Hurricane Francine slams Louisiana.
Well, it's certainly worse than we anticipated.
And we'll show you other areas in the tropics we are monitoring for possible development.
Once that frontal boundary kind of meanders off the Carolina coast, that's where we could see maybe some subtropical or tropical development occur.
Wildfires are raging in the western U.S., burning dozens of homes.
It's gone. It's ash. All three houses are ashes.
And all that smoke is having major impacts on air quality.
It's not great.
We'll look at how drought is impacting farmers in Ohio and West Virginia.
This would be normal. This is what we're seeing this year.
Plus, the weather forecast for this weekend's big football matchups.
From our nation's capital, this is the National Weather Desk.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the National Weather Desk. I'm Angela Brown. Cleanup is underway in Louisiana after Hurricane Francine made landfall on Wednesday. The storm brought heavy winds, flash floods, heavy rain to the region. Michael Yoshida looks at how residents are dealing with the aftermath of this storm.
Utility crews worked to restore power in New Orleans Thursday. Homes and businesses are without power in Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama after wind and fallen trees ripped down power lines. In Houma, Louisiana, Francine's winds were so strong, the roof of this flea market was torn off.
Well, it's certainly worse than we anticipated.
It was something else.
At a press conference Thursday, New Orleans city officials touted the response of most residents.
You just did what we asked you to do.
After Francine hit Wednesday evening, it dumped more than a month's worth of rain on New Orleans within hours, causing a rare flash flood emergency. One man who was out on the road got stuck in a truck when floodwaters began to overtake his vehicle. Thankfully, a nearby nurse sprang into action.
I just made a game time decision and said, I'll be right back. Went and grabbed a hammer at my house and just went in there and broke the window and got him out of there.
Not only did Francine make traveling dangerous, the water rushed into homes. The Lafourche Parish Sheriff's Office said they pulled 26 residents, many from their flooded homes Wednesday night.
And all of a sudden we saw water starting to come in from all different areas.
Thursday, residents faced with the daunting task of the cleanup. In New Orleans, Louisiana, I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
Parts of Alabama were not in the storm's direct path, but the area was impacted as well. Aubrey Spears is in Dolphin Island, where the main concerns were saltwater flooding and also rip currents.
The sun was out on Dolphin Island as beachgoers enjoyed the light breeze and cloudy sky. It's a different scene as the island felt the indirect impact from Hurricane Francine.
It was really windy and it was a lot of rain.
I think mainly this was minor impacts for the most part, is what it looks like, and that's a good thing.
As the rain moved out and the skies cleared, folks got to work assessing the damage or lack thereof. Dolphin Island Mayor Jeff Collier says sand is covering about 10 to 15 side streets on the west end of the island.
It's more of a nuisance type thing. There is cost involved. It's something that we do in-house at this level. And so it's just a matter of an inconvenience, particularly for those people who are living in those homes or renting those homes.
The town is also experiencing some flooding on the roads. On the west end of the island, some drivers turned around at the site, but others cautiously drove through the water. Collier says cleanup could take up to a week as the town works with the Dolphin Island Water and Sewer Authority.
But we'll get there. We've been there and done that, and so it's going to work out fine. We just ask people to be patient and kind of work with us on this as we start the cleanup process.
And yesterday marked 45 years since a benchmark hurricane struck in the same area of Alabama. Hurricane Frederick made landfall around Bayou La Batterie and Dolphin Island in 1979. The Cat 3 hurricane had winds up to 130 miles per hour. It cost nearly $2.3 billion in damage as well, including destroying the Dolphin Island Bridge. As Francine moves east, it could impact the system sitting off the coast. Meteorologist Jennifer Collins is tracking what's in store for the folks in that area and other storms systems in the Atlantic as well.
And once that area moves into the, once that frontal boundary kind of meanders off the Carolina coast, that's where we could see maybe some subtropical or tropical development occur. Right now, there's a 30% chance of development on that area. Any movement would be towards the north, so away from South Florida. It's not really much of a threat for us. One other area to watch in the Atlantic basin has a low chance of development, and then we have a tropical depression 7 kind of struggling in the eastern Atlantic. Still a tropical depression. Still forecast to become a tropical storm maybe sometime today before moving into the western Atlantic. The next name of hurricane season is Gordon.
And out west, fires continue to burn in California. A state of emergency has been declared, and the National Guard is actually going to go in to help as well. Now, right now, at least 3 major wildfires continue to burn through the southern part of the state. Those fires have burned tens of thousands of acres and forced several people to even evacuate their homes, with many having their homes destroyed by the flames.
It's gone. It's ash. All 3 houses are ashes. Ashes. There's nothing left. And one of the forestry guys somehow came up that road and seen me with the water hose and the dog. He said, "Get your in now." And the fire was coming straight at us. And he turned around and went right through it.
Wow, some good news here is the recent cooler and wetter weather has helped firefighters in the battle against those fires you're looking at here. In Nevada, the National Guard has been playing an important role in fighting the Davis fire, with hand and air crews working to tackle it as well. The fire has already burned thousands of acres, and officials warn the weather could make things worse in the coming days. Sophia Lincoln has more.
Thanks to a newer program that allows National Guard members to be trained and certified to fight wildfires, the local agencies fighting the Davis fire now have extra ground and air crews to fight the blaze.
Those individuals are sleeping out in the fire, working 16-hour days, getting dirty.
This comes as local firefighting agencies have already been stretched thin on this fire.
We are the last resort, I guess you can say, but we are, like I said, happy to help.
As well as helping with the fire, the National Guard also has about 100 members assisting the Washoe County Sheriff's Office to secure the evacuated neighborhoods.
For the most part, it's just stressed out citizens worried about their homes. They just want to check on their property, make sure everything's okay, check on any animals they may have left behind.
The National Guard has been working on the Davis fire since Sunday and is one of a number of agencies working together on it.
We are ready to answer the state's call, and that's what we've done here for this mission.
In Las Vegas, air quality has been an issue. It's not just fires in the state that are to blame. Smoke from fires in California also making its way through the city. Denise Roach has more.
You try to avoid it as much as you can, but you know, certain duties call.
Michael Taylor admits he has no choice.
Go play with your brothers and sisters.
With 5 dogs in the house, a little park time is a must. But Taylor says our smoky skies are making this visit a little less comfortable.
It was kind of a shock. I woke up and definitely can smell like something was on fire somewhere.
And the problem is hundreds of miles away in Southern California. A handful of wildfires sending smoke this direction. Clark County issuing an air quality alert.
This is all coming from the LA basin.
Spokesperson Kevin McDonald.
When it comes to ozone especially, I like to say that Clark County is a perfect oven to cook ozone because of our geography, our topography, and our climate. And that's also true of particulate matter pollution, because the wind's blowing all the smoke from other places all around us into Clark County, and it's just going to hang around for a while.
Wednesday morning, McDonald taking News 3 inside one of the county's 18 air quality monitoring stations. Everything from dust to carbon monoxide is analyzed. But this week, the issue is smoke. Here on the website, red means unhealthy air. Purple is very unhealthy.
Take the average over 24 hours, that'll give us what our air quality index was for the day, and that's how we'll compare it historically.
Including a comparison to 2013, when the Carpenter 1 fire burned nearly 28,000 acres up in our local mountains. Thick smoke lingering for days. Back in the park,
When I get down,
Taylor says he's ready for anything.
I got masks in my car from COVID still, so it's good to kind of have those supplies around.
Just in case.
Just in case.
And check this out. Early season snow in the Alps. The snow started earlier this week and is expected to keep falling over the next few days. While it has been good news for ski resorts in the area, it did force some railways to cancel service. This comes less than a week after parts of Switzerland were baking in late summer heat waves. And coming up on the National Weather Desk, we'll find out what the latest U.S. drought monitor says about drought across the country. And we're going to also look at what's the latest fall foliage report says about the changing leaves in New England.
I'm meteorologist Charlie Lopresti with a look at the Northeast. It is a mild day in the Northeast today. Look at these temperatures surging into the low to mid 80s. We'll enjoy a lot of sunshine and we'll have low humidity. These temperatures are going to be more representative of July or August rather than mid-September. A greatest chance for maybe getting an isolated shower this afternoon will be through parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, and inland Maine. Now, Saturday looks great as well. I think we'll see a fair amount of sunshine. It's not quite as warm, 70s and low 80s. Should do it by afternoon.
I'm Chief Meteorologist Gerard DeBailey. Here's a look at the Mid-Atlantic region. Your Friday will start out with some clouds in the morning, but afternoon we should see more sunshine across the region. Saturday could actually begin with some areas of fog in the morning, but same as Friday, we'll see things brighten up and we'll get more sunshine to reach the ground, and temperatures will be pretty similar, very seasonable for this time of the year. Highs will be in the low to mid 80s, relatively speaking, and except in the mountains, of course, will be a little bit cooler for those high altitudes, and the same for Saturday.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Charlotte Carl. We do have pretty seasonable temperatures today, slightly lower for the northern bits of our states. We are seeing mid 70s, upper 70s in some parts, and then the low 80s the further south we get. Florida still hanging out in the 90s. The remnants of Francine will continue to push up through Arkansas, Tennessee, even Mississippi and Alabama will see some of the outer bands. And then the frontal boundary will pass associated with the outer bands of Francine through this weekend, bringing showers and storms.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
A tale of two skies around El Paso. Blue to the left, which is east. Panning west, the skies change color as if a cloak of clouds was on the way. But that was smoke from wildfires burning in Southern California. From fire smoke to soaking rains in Tuscaloosa, part of Francine's movements in central Alabama, and in northern Alabama Thursday, strong winds troubled the waters of Lake Guntersville.
For more content like this, like the National Weather Desk on Facebook.
And the Northern Lights have been putting on a show recently thanks to a recent coronal mass ejections from the sun. The Northern Lights could be seen in parts of the U.S. and Canada. The lights are visible as far south as Virginia and parts of California. There's a chance that folks in northern states get to see the Aurora Borealis again tonight. If skies are clear, of course. Great pictures there. The most recent U.S. drought monitor is out, and for some areas, the news is not great. Meteorologist Steve Bruden breaks it down for us.
The brand new drought monitor is now in. We'll start off on the East Coast, the Mid-Atlantic, over toward the D.C. area, looking at moderate drought for D.C.'s western suburbs. Head over to West Virginia and into Ohio. That's where we have extreme and exceptional drought right now, just to the north of Charleston. Francine, what's left of it, helping to reduce drought levels, especially across the deep south over into Louisiana, but over into Mississippi, still dealing with drought conditions. Same for western Texas. Head over to California, where many fires continue to burn. They're looking at dry conditions for San Francisco, and then for the Pacific Northwest, Seattle looking okay right now, but head over to western Montana, over toward Kalispell and Whitefish. Extreme and exceptional droughts are there. Wet weather chances are on the rise as we move through the weekend and then into Tuesday of next week, especially for western Montana. Head over to the south, over toward Atlanta and Memphis. The remnants of Francine will bring much needed wet weather, and then a coastal storm will help the Mid-Atlantic, hopefully by Wednesday and Thursday of next week. Let's talk about our temperature trends. We're looking at above average temperatures toward the middle and end of September for the Mid-Atlantic, greatly above for Michigan and Wisconsin and the upper peninsula of Michigan. Cooler temperatures off to the west for Los Angeles and Las Vegas. Overall, we're looking at the mildest temperatures or the warmest temperatures September 18th to the 22nd through the mid portion of the country. Missouri and across the Great Lakes. I'm WJLA meteorologist Steve Rudin in Washington, D.C.
The record drought in southeast Ohio is having major impacts on farmers in that state. They're doing their best to try and cope with all of these dry conditions, but some worry their entire crop could be really a loss. Jill McClanahan has more.
Let me show you the impact of the drought. This field of corn that I'm standing in, these stalks should be a lot taller and a lot greener than they are right now. This corn doesn't usually turn brown until the middle of October.
How much money have you lost because of the drought?
At least $50,000. We've had incurred significant expenses just from the drought.
Colin McKean and his brother run this farm in Gallia County. Their incomes are from farming operations, but it has been a tough growing season with the last significant rainfall occurring more than 60 days ago.
This would be normal. This is what we're seeing this year.
In addition, fields of sunflowers and fields of corn bake in the hot sun from the extreme dry conditions. The drought has even been a challenge caring for the farm animals. Gallia County commissioners have issued a disaster declaration for the county.
It's like rolling the dice, gambling. You're at the mercy of the weather. And if the weather doesn't cooperate, then you're not going to produce much of a product. So poor pollination, poor growth. The quality is not there in comparison to this year.
Why is this year better than this year?
This year's from last year. This is this year's.
The farm is more than 400 acres, with the drought affecting 90% of farming operations. McCain believes the impact of the drought will also be felt by consumers.
If that product isn't there, you're going to have a low supply and a high demand, which means an increase. I wouldn't doubt, if you don't see a significant increase in the grocery stores again this year.
And as you saw, Ohio is not the only place getting dry conditions. Many people across the U.S. are seeing their lawns turn brown, and it's not because of the changing season. Meteorologist Colin Rogers has some tips on how to protect your yard and garden from dry weather.
Extended periods of dry weather put stress on your grass and plants. There are things that you can do to help your lawn, starting with how you mow it.
I would not recommend cutting it short right now. Those blades of grass, they are already going to be burning, and getting them shorter, it's just going to get closer to that warm soil, that hot soil, and your chance of losing your grass is going to be that much higher.
The best thing for your grass is obviously water, but the time of day matters.
So when it comes to watering your lawn in these hot, dry stretches, we are going to recommend twice daily. That morning and evening every day is superb. If you do morning and evening every other day, that is great too. As long as there's a regular, consistent plan, consistency is going to be the key.
Trees and shrubs can also become stressed, although they show it in a different way than your lawn does.
Rather than them showing the dry brown crispness that we see in our lawns, what we're going to look for in trees is any bug issues, if they have any infestations, or if they have any fungal issues. Most often, if we can water our vegetation enough, that is their best self-defense.
The way you water your trees and shrubs matters too.
So when it comes to watering your tree and shrubs, low and slow for long periods of time is the best way to do it. Slow, consistent watering for long periods of time.
While older trees usually do fine during drier times, it's not a bad idea to give them some attention too.
And even for our established trees right now, with as warm and as dry as everything is, even if your tree's been in the ground for 10 years, don't hesitate to give it some water.
There are some great college and NFL games this weekend. Meteorologist Katie Morgan looks at the weather forecast for all the big games.
Another weekend upon us. Let's talk football, shall we? Unfortunately, for a lot of football matchups, we are looking at rain to be an issue. We'll start with Oregon versus Oregon State. That's going to be at Oregon State. Chance of showers possible with temperatures hovering around 70 at kickoff. We'll be in the mid-70s as we head to Wisconsin. Alabama in town taking on Wisconsin, and temperature's good, but we'll have that chance for showers around. And Boston College at Mizzou in Columbia, Missouri. Lots of sunshine. Should be a great game with a temperature around 74 at kickoff. Then we take a look at some of our Sunday matchups. The Raiders in Baltimore taking on the Ravens. 82 our temperature here at kickoff with temperatures good. We'll see that sunshine out. A nice afternoon. Jets in town. Nashville taking on the Titans. And we're going to be looking at some scattered showers off and on throughout the day, perhaps even a few thunderstorms. Kickoff temperature around 74. And the Steelers in Denver taking on the Broncos, upper 80s. Not looking too bad in the Mile High City with mainly sunny skies. Hope you're gearing up for a great weekend to watch some of your favorite sporting events. Have a good one.
And time now for a short break, but first we take in views of glaciers in Iceland.
Good Friday morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Andrew Buck-Michael. Got a little bit of rain across the Dakotas and then also some rain from Francine trying to push its way north. And we'll see Francine kind of slowly rain itself out over the next several days here. Highs in the 80s and 70s heading into the weekend. And we got a few 90s on the way by Sunday with some of that rain still down by Missouri and the Mississippi River from Francine as we head into your Sunday. But generally a mild weekend in most of the Midwest, staying dry.
Good morning, I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. Here's a look at your regional weather. We're starting off cool, rain-cooled really, from Little Rock all over into Dallas. Everybody else a little warm for this time of the year. That's because of the moisture that's still building up. That dry air is still hanging in there as it's coming around on the backside of Francine, which will eventually fade out today with scattered showers well out toward the east. Everybody else stays pretty dry, and we're going to have summer-like temperatures for the afternoon. I'm meteorologist Alex Garcia. That's a look at your regional weather.
Well, hi there, everybody, and TGIF. I'm meteorologist Shannon O'Donnell. It's Friday on the West Coast, and it is going to be fabulous. We're seeing cooler temperatures back through much of at least coastal California. Look at the straight 70s from San Francisco to San Diego. Still plenty hot, though, in Phoenix at 105, and the Northwest cooling down. Just 60s today again in Seattle, and Spokane running cool as well. Next weather maker will be this weekend disturbance rolling into Seattle and Portland Friday into Saturday. And that's the scene from here.
The National Weather Desk.
And now let's take a look at the latest forecast for the fall foliage in the Northeast.
The first fall foliage report was released on Wednesday afternoon. Spoiler alert, nothing too exciting right now. Here's what it currently looks like in Maine and New Hampshire. And I respect the low color. That's because we're still making our way through the beginning of September. For some areas, we're peaking in about a month. So definitely get planning if you plan on heading to Maine or New Hampshire to check out the foliage this fall. Mountains of Maine and New Hampshire are peaking between October 5th through 13th. And for southern New Hampshire and southern Maine and all the coastline of Maine, we're making our way to the last week of October just before Halloween. And we're already starting to see some color in some locations. This picture was taken actually a couple weeks ago. So let's quickly talk about why the leaves change colors. With cooler weather, the tree's chlorophyll begins to break down, leaving chemicals behind, such as carotene, xanthophyll, and anthocyanine. Those yellows, oranges, and red colors in the leaves are because of those chemicals. Expect more leaves to change over the next coming weeks. And stay tuned for next week's fall foliage update.
All right, and looking for more great weather content, check us out on social media. You can find us on all your favorite platforms. Just search the National Weather Desk. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Angela Brown. Make it a great Friday. Have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you right back here on Monday.